Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. I really don't think the implication for Tesla's next generation EV platform is widely understood, because this has huge implications for so many things, like the next phase of the Berlin factory, for example, or making Tesla's robotaxis untouchable for any competition and make a wide adoption of EVs a reality, as Tesla will suddenly be part of 70% of the addressable market instead of only 10%, and demand problems and cannibalization of the Model 3 and other worries will be put to shame. If Wall Street understood just half of this, they would all have a buy rating right now, but at least some of them are waking up, and we have never had as many buy rating on Tesla as we have now. And I understand why, because Tesla's next generation platform will change the whole game, and it's coming sooner than most people realize. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So let's start with a new production method that will not only be the next generation factory in Texas. Tom Su said, firstly, the next generation EV platform will be built in Mexico first, then they will copy-paste production to other gigafactories. So of course, the second phase of the Berlin factory will of course not be built with the old production method, but the next generation production method. So maybe they will make a European version of the small car in phase 2 of the Berlin factory. Or maybe down the road, when they build the third phase of the factory, make a Model 3 in Europe with the new production method as well. This would be huge, and maybe that is what Tesla is working on in Fremont as well, and why the Tesla Model 3 long range has not been for sale in the US for more than half a year. And if people think, how will Tesla deal with the Osborne effect of the Model 3 on a new platform? Well, I don't think we as consumers will notice it much, as Tesla could still make the car look and feel completely the same. But for Tesla, this new Model 3 is only about half the cost for them to produce because of the new way of doing it. So Tesla will maybe come out with a Model 3 long range at the same price, but just earn a shit ton of money on it to begin with, and then slowly get Tesla's price down, as their cross margin will become very big on these new versions of the car produced in the new way. But we will see how this will all play out. But important to keep in mind that the Project Highland, or whatever it is, doesn't have to be a completely refreshed model, but just the same car, but built much more efficiently and save about half the production cost for Tesla. This is huge. Then we have a lot of people talking about the Osborne effect for Tesla coming with a smaller model that will eat into Tesla Model 3 sales. But I think Tesla will make this a little compact hatchback, so that's not really going to be suitable for families like mine. That car would be too small for us, and I would probably never get one. It would be like saying Volkswagen should not make the Polo because it's eating into the sale of the Volkswagen Passat. It's not the same thing. This is getting a bit confusing from the automotive analysts that are saying Tesla need more models to get to a new addressable market. But then when they are actually getting close to do that, they come out and say that will only eat into their own sales of their current models. Come on guys, make up your mind. So I'm not so afraid anymore about Tesla's cannibalizing their current models with the new one, as it will be something very different from what they have now. I don't even think anyone is close on guessing how this thing will look, just like the Cybertruck. No one saw that coming. But then let's take it up a notch. and move our sights to the new factory in Mexico that will build the new, smaller EV. Because firstly, it's going to be half price to produce for Tesla. So a $25,000 Tesla is a done deal when this factory is up and running and is already designed. And that will mean that Tesla will suddenly go from only having vehicles in about 10% of the addressable market to 70% of the addressable market. So this will take Tesla to a whole new level when we're talking about enough demand for Tesla's vehicles. And Tom Su is saying that Tesla hopes to be able to beat the Shanghai factory in construction speed. So build the Mexico factory in about 9 months. And we are hearing from the Mexican president that maybe Tesla can be ready to break ground in only a couple of months, meaning that by the end of 2024, we could have production starting at this factory. Well, then let's turn it up one more notch and talk about robotaxis, because this car will not be ready before 1.5 years from now. And I do believe Tesla will be very far with their full self-driving software at that point, and it seems like Tesla does too, as Elon just said at this interview.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clear path to making a smaller vehicle that is roughly half the production cost and difficulty of our Model 3. That vehicle will be, really used almost entirely in autonomous mode. The thing that is really gigantic for Tesla is autonomy. And if people have used the Tesla full self-driving and have seen how rapidly the full self-driving capability has been evolving, it should be obvious that is by far the most profound thing. The sort of total addressable market stuff, it's like, guys, this is like actually not the right way to think about it. It's like passenger vehicles right now only see about 10 to 12 hours of use per week. There's 168 hours in a week. If those vehicles are autonomous, they're probably going to get used for 50 or 60 hours a week. That's a 5x increase in the value of a car, and it costs the same to make the car. At that point, you basically have software margins in a hardware product. Total addressable market is everyone.
So this new smaller car that cost half the price to produce will mostly be for autonomous driving. And that changes the game completely. Because I hear many don't think Tesla will never be able to produce 20 million cars, because there will not be a demand for 20 million cars from just one brand. One brand will not sit on about 20 to 25% of the market. Well, Apple sits on 20% of the smartphone market, but have about 80% of the profits. So we have already seen one brand being able to sit on a very big piece of the market. But people seem to forget, or of course don't believe, that Tesla will solve full self-driving. But as Elon said, if you have been paying attention to the progress of the full self-driving beta program, you will understand how fast this is improving, and it is inevitable that Tesla will solve it. It is only a question of when. And remember, we only get to see where Tesla is on their beta program. Tesla also has an alpha program that is even better. And we are talking about a neural net, an artificial intelligent learning to drive. And as I made a whole video about a couple of years back, AI throughout history has always learned slow in the beginning, and then suddenly it takes off in an exponential curve, and being able to do what people thought would be decades out in the future. This has played out every time with artificial intelligence, and I think this is where Tesla is, ready to take off. And then, as Elon says, Tesla does not need to think in terms of addressable market at that point, because suddenly all humans on the planet are your addressable market, with transport as a service, as Tony Seba has talked about for many years. So in my opinion, Tesla will not even stop at 20 million cars, because when Tesla has solved full self-driving, they can just produce as many cars as humanly possible. There's no talk about demand here, and just get them out on the street all over the planet. So sure, Tesla can make 20 million cars, because their addressable market will be every living human on Earth. And yes, they will have the materials for its batteries, as these cars will be able to use any kind of chemistry, not just lithium-ion batteries. Elon has already said this. The battery will be mostly LFP batteries that does not use any lithium or cobalt or nickel, but iron. That is what this planet is pretty much made of. But all of this make Tesla completely untouchable in the robotaxi game, as Tesla's small, very affordable car will be able to be a robotaxi. Please let this sink in for a moment. Tesla will build one of the cheapest cars in the world when we take true cost of ownership into account, but also in production, and Tesla will be able to make that a robotaxi. And will already sometime in 2025 or 2026 have this car at an insane scale in production at the Mexico factory, and maybe even one more. No one else will be able to do this. The other OEMs can't even build a profitable EV, and has shown us so far they can't even ramp up EVs fast either. Just look at GM, that has pushed back their targets once again and has been producing the Lyriq for a year and has only delivered 1,000 units. They are very slow at this, also because they have not made Tesla's groundwork, making sure that they have all the batteries and materials for all their batteries they will need. But the other autonomous vehicles out there, like Waymo's robotaxis, cost like $200,000 to build. So Tesla will have something they can build for about 1/10 of the cost. That's not sustainable. You will not be in the game if your product costs 10 times more to produce. That's just game over. But they are not even ready for it either. So even if they solve it today, it would take them years to get any amount of volume in production of these things. Not just because they don't have the batteries, and not just because they can hardly produce EV at scale today, but they don't even have the production of Lidar planned. As I talked about in my interview with Brian Wang, there is not a lot of Lidar for cars being produced in the world today, and every car but Tesla's that has any kind of driver assist features uses Lidar. So they are sucking up all the Lidar supply for cars. In 2021, there were only about 200,000 Lidar units produced for the car industry, and every car needs about 8 Lidar units per car. And the big one on top of the car you can see on Waymo's robotaxis, the 360-degree one, still cost about $80,000. Maybe you can get one now for about $40,000, but that is still twice the price of Tesla's entire full self-driving car. And people forget Lidar is not just Lidar. Some are still very expensive, even though there are also cheap Lidar today, like the one in your iPhone. But you still need to plan for the production ramp of Lidar. If you expect at some point to get to 1 million robotaxis per year, that means about 8 million Lidar units per year. That would be about 40 times as many units that there were produced in the entire world in 2021 for the car industry. So just that simple fact that no one really believes in high volume of robotaxi anytime soon also means they are not really in talk with their suppliers to get ready for producing millions of robotaxis in the near future. But Tesla is. So even if Waymo solve it in 2 years' time together with Tesla, Waymo will not even be able to get 100,000 robotaxis on the street anytime soon, because that would require the whole world's supply of automotive Lidar units. And that is just one sensor system out of many that they have to ramp up in production of to fit on their automotive cars. Remember, Xpeng was out bragging about their 33 sensors on their cars. Yeah, that is not an advantage when you need to scale up. And why Xpeng has taken away the Lidar, because it's too expensive. Just one of these sensors, Lidar, will make it impossible to scale if you don't start now to get in talks with the supplier to ramp up production of the Lidar to millions of units. But that means you really have to be very confident in your capability to deliver full self-driving cars soon to to tell your supplier to ramp up production like crazy. So this will just not happen very fast. But Tesla will probably have ramped up their Mexico factory at this point in 2 to 3 years' time, so they will probably be able to make a couple of million robotaxis that year for 1/10 of the cost of any other robotaxis out there in their little geo-fenced area. And the Tesla solution is a general solution, so they can implement these everywhere on the planet as soon as legislators approve it. And the financial boost this will do to a country where people no longer have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on transport every year with a car, but can just use transport as a service for a fraction of the price, will open up a huge financial boost for the population and country. So I believe even the country will push legislators to quickly approve it. So everyone is going to want this as fast as possible. And Tesla will be the only one that will be ready to meet the demand for cheap, affordable transport with autonomous cars in high volume. That will also be one of the cheapest cars on the planet to produce. Yeah, this is a ticking time bomb under the whole automotive industry. And no one even dares to take this into their calculation of Tesla's potential future valuation, other than Ark and West. But this will be the biggest value gain we have ever seen in history.
And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.